Desperate parents, a dying child, and one audacious tweet to Elon Musk. What happened next shook the world and rewrote the rules of hope. The day started like any other for Nathan and Alyssa Parker, a young couple living in the suburban calm of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Their home was modest but filled with warmth, the kind of place where baby toys littered the living room and the faint smell of coffee lingered in the air. But their lives had taken a devastating turn a few months ago, and today was another in a long series of desperate days. Their one-year-old son, Liam, was the center of their world. A sweet, curious boy with wide, searching eyes, Liam had always been a bright light in their lives, but his laughter had grown faint, his energy diminished, and the light in his eyes seemed to flicker. A rare and aggressive illness had taken hold, one that left the doctors at Michigan Medicine baffled. They had tried every treatment available, every experimental drug, but nothing had worked. Every time Alyssa held Liam close, she could feel how fragile he was becoming, as though he might slip away at any moment. Nathan, a software engineer by trade, had always been the problem solver in their relationship, but this problem was beyond him. He sat for hours in front of his laptop, poring over medical journals and obscure case studies, hoping to find something, anything that could save their son. Alyssa, a teacher on extended leave, spent her days juggling doctor appointments and moments of quiet panic, her mind always circling back to one unbearable thought. They might lose Liam. Doctors had been blunt. There were no more treatments to try. Take him home and make him comfortable, they had said. The phrase haunted Alyssa. How could she make her baby comfortable when his tiny body was fighting so hard to stay alive? The nights were the worst. Nathan and Alyssa would sit in silence, staring at the crib in their bedroom where Liam slept fitfully. They would exchange glances, both of them wondering if this was the night their world would shatter. It was during one of those long, sleepless nights that Alyssa said, almost to herself, "There has to be someone who can help, someone who doesn't accept no for an answer." Nathan looked at her, his brow furrowing. "Like who?" She hesitated for a moment, then said the name that had been at the back of her mind for weeks. Elon Musk. Nathan blinked. Elon Musk? The Tesla guy? The guy who put rockets into space? Alyssa shot back. If anyone could think of something crazy enough to work, wouldn't it be him? It sounded absurd, but the more they talked, the more the idea took shape. Musk was a pioneer, a visionary who thrived on solving impossible problems. And what did they have to lose? They had already exhausted every other avenue. Alyssa stayed up that night drafting a post for Twitter, pouring all her pain and desperation into a 280-character plea. Our one-year-old son, Liam, is dying of a rare illness. Doctors have given up. At Elon Musk, if there's any way you can help, we're begging you. Please. When she hit send, she felt a rush of emotions, hope, fear, and a deep, gnawing anxiety. It felt like shouting into a void, but for the first time in weeks, she had done something that felt like action. But as the hours ticked by and no response came, Alyssa started to wonder if they had made a mistake. Yet deep down, a tiny spark of hope refused to die. After all, sometimes, even the smallest actions can lead to the most unexpected results. Alyssa's tweet quickly began to gain traction. First, it was just a few likes from friends and acquaintances, but then strangers started to chime in. Replies poured in with words of encouragement, prayers, and shared stories from parents who had faced similar battles. One reply stood out. "Keep pushing. Miracles can happen." Musk has seen tweets like this before and answered, "Don't give up." Encouraged by the growing attention, Nathan and Alyssa doubled down. Nathan created a thread providing more details about Liam's condition, including his diagnosis, the lack of available treatments, and their hopes for Musk's intervention. He added pictures of Liam, one where he was smiling with his stuffed elephant, another where he was hooked up to medical equipment. The images were heartbreaking and they struck a chord with thousands of people. The tweet began spreading like wildfire. Hashtags like #SaveLiam and Elon Help started trending. People from all walks of life joined in, tagging Musk and other influential figures. News outlets picked up the story, and within 24 hours, it seemed like the entire internet knew about Liam Parker. Still, No word from Elon Musk. Alyssa checked her phone obsessively, refreshing Twitter every few minutes. "He's probably busy," Nathan said, though his own hands were shaking. "The guy's running companies, launching satellites." "I know," Alyssa whispered, staring at her screen. "But if he just saw it." Then, on the second night, as the couple sat on the couch, their eyes glued to the glow of their phones, Alyssa gasped. "Oh my God, Nathan, look!" She turned her screen toward him. There it was, a reply from Elon Musk. "Looking into this. Need more details. Please email my team." For a moment, neither of them could speak. It felt surreal, like some kind of dream. Nathan broke the silence. He replied. He actually replied. The next few hours were a blur. Alyssa composed an email detailing Liam's condition, attaching every medical record, diagnosis, and test result they had. She sent it to Musk's team with trembling hands. Now, the waiting game began again. But Musk's tweet had set off a chain reaction. Media outlets that had been mildly interested before now began covering the story with urgency. Anchors speculated about what Musk might do. Scientists and medical professionals chimed in on Twitter with suggestions for experimental treatments. Alyssa and Nathan were inundated with messages, some offering support, others filled with unsolicited advice. One reply stuck with Alyssa. If Musk takes this on, it could change everything, not just for Liam, but for so many others. As the hours stretched into the next day, Nathan and Alyssa felt a strange mixture of hope and fear. They had gotten Musk's attention, but now the stakes felt impossibly high. What if there really was no solution? What if Liam became a symbol of something Elon Musk couldn't solve? But as the hours passed, Alyssa clung to one thought. They had taken the first step, and sometimes the first step is all it takes to set something extraordinary in motion. The morning after Musk's reply felt electric. Alyssa woke up to an inbox full of messages, including one from Musk's team. It was brief but direct, requesting a virtual meeting to discuss Liam's case further. The email alone felt like a lifeline, a sign that someone was taking their situation seriously. By the time the video call happened, Alyssa and Nathan were nervous wrecks. Sitting in their small living room, they adjusted the camera on Nathan's laptop, trying to look composed despite the gravity of the situation. When Elon Musk appeared on the screen, casually dressed in a t-shirt and leaning back in his chair, it was almost disarming. He looked like any regular guy, except for the fact that he held the power to potentially save their son's life. "Thank you for taking the time to talk," Musk said, his voice calm but direct. "I've read through the information you sent. First, let me say I'm sorry you're going through this." Alyssa felt her throat tighten. She could barely manage a nod. Nathan spoke up, his voice shaking slightly. "We're grateful you even responded. It means everything to us." Musk got straight to the point. He had shared Liam's case with a team of researchers working on cutting-edge medical technology. "There's a group we collaborate with on bioengineering," he explained. "They've been developing something that might help, but it's untested on humans." The word untested hung heavy in the air. Alyssa glanced at Nathan, and he met her gaze, both of them understanding the risks without needing to speak them aloud. "What exactly is it?" Nathan asked cautiously. Musk explained that it involved nanotechnology, microscopic devices that could be programmed to target and repair cells damaged by diseases. The concept sounded like something out of science fiction, but Musk assured them it was real. "The team believes it could be effective for Liam's condition, but we'd need your consent to proceed. There are risks, of course. This is uncharted territory." The risks were staggering. If the treatment failed, it could worsen Liam's condition or cause irreversible damage. But the alternative, doing nothing, was unthinkable. "We'll do it," Alyssa said before Nathan could speak. Her voice was firm, steady, as though she had already decided the moment Musk explained the option. Nathan reached for her hand, squeezing it tightly, and nodded. "Yes, whatever it takes." Over the next week, Musk's team moved quickly. A private jet was arranged to fly Liam and his parents to a specialized research facility in California. The speed at which everything was happening left Alyssa and Nathan breathless. One moment they were parents clinging to a thread of hope. The next, they were at the center of a groundbreaking medical trial. When they arrived at the facility, it felt surreal. The building was sleek and futuristic, filled with scientists who spoke in terms Alyssa could barely understand. Yet, amidst the chaos, they were treated with kindness. A lead researcher named Dr. Patel walked them through every step of the procedure, patiently answering their endless stream of questions. "You're making history by being here," Dr. Patel said. "If this works, it could open doors for so many others." The weight of that statement wasn't lost on them. Alyssa couldn't help but think of the countless parents out there who were also fighting impossible battles. For the first time, she felt like maybe, just maybe, Liam's suffering could mean something beyond their own heartbreak. But as the preparation for the treatment began, the reality of what they were about to do loomed large. This was no longer just about hope. It was about facing the unknown head-on, no matter what it brought. The morning of the procedure arrived faster than Alyssa and Nathan expected. Liam had been prepped by the medical team, his tiny frame dwarfed by the hospital bed. He was quiet but alert, his large eyes darting between his parents as if sensing the tension in the air. Dr. Patel gathered the couple in a small conference room. "We're ready to proceed," she said gently. "The nano devices have been programmed specifically for Liam's condition. The goal is to target the damaged cells while leaving the healthy ones untouched. It will take 48 hours to see if they activate as expected." "Activate?" Nathan asked, his voice cracking slightly. "The nano devices are essentially tiny robots. Once they enter his bloodstream, they'll use his body's natural pathways to locate and repair the damage. If they succeed, we could see signs of improvement within 2 days. If not—" Dr. Patel hesitated, her calm demeanor faltering for just a moment. "We'll cross that bridge if we come to it." Alyssa and Nathan exchanged a glance. It was the same unspoken question they'd been asking themselves for weeks. Could they endure another failure? "Let's do it," Alyssa said finally, her voice steady but her hands trembling at her sides. Nathan nodded, his throat too tight to speak. The procedure itself was eerily simple. The nano devices were introduced through a small IV drip. It was almost anticlimactic, considering the stakes. Alyssa sat by Liam's side, holding his hand as the liquid entered his veins. He didn't cry or flinch, just stared at her with those wide, trusting eyes. "You're so brave, sweetheart," she whispered, stroking his soft curls. Nathan stood at the foot of the bed, his arms crossed tightly over his chest, as though trying to hold himself together. Every beep of the monitor felt amplified. Every minute stretched into eternity. The hours after the procedure were agonizing. Liam's condition remained unchanged, and the waiting seemed unbearable. Alyssa and Nathan stayed by his bedside, taking turns holding his hand and whispering soft reassurances. The medical team monitored him closely, their expressions professional but guarded. Even they didn't know what to expect. By the second night, exhaustion had settled in. Alyssa dozed off in the chair by Liam's bed, while Nathan paced the hallway outside. He stopped every now and then to stare out the large windows, the California night sky glittering above him. He tried to hold on to hope, but doubts crept in, unrelenting. Then, just past dawn, something changed. Alyssa was the first to notice. Liam stirred, his tiny fingers curling around hers with surprising strength. His eyes fluttered open, and for the first time in weeks, there was a spark of recognition. "Nathan!" she called out, her voice filled with a mix of shock and joy. Nathan rushed in, his heart pounding. Liam looked up at him and gave a faint but unmistakable smile. It was small, barely there, but it was everything. Alyssa felt tears streaming down her face as she clutched her son, overwhelmed by a tidal wave of relief and hope. The medical team rushed in, checking Liam's vitals and running tests. Dr. Patel's expression, usually so composed, softened into a wide smile. "It's working," she said simply. "The nano devices are responding as we hoped." Alyssa collapsed into Nathan's arms, sobbing with a mixture of exhaustion and gratitude. Nathan held her tightly, his own tears flowing freely. But as the initial wave of relief subsided, a new question emerged. How long would it last? Would this be a breakthrough or just a temporary reprieve? For now they held on to the moment, knowing that even the smallest glimmer of hope could be enough to carry them through the uncertainty ahead. News of Liam's remarkable progress spread faster than anyone anticipated. Alyssa and Nathan hadn't expected their story to gain such widespread attention, but as soon as Musk's involvement became public, it became a global sensation. Headlines blared phrases like, "Tech billionaire saves baby's life," and "Experimental nanotech offers hope for the future." Social media exploded with reactions. Videos of Liam's faint smile, captured on a phone by one of the nurses, went viral within hours. Strangers from around the world flooded the family's accounts with comments, messages of love, prayers, and gratitude. Some shared their own stories of battling rare illnesses, while others simply expressed awe at the power of technology and human resilience. But not everyone celebrated. Debates erupted online and on news channels, with critics questioning the ethics of using untested technology on a child. "This could have gone horribly wrong," one expert argued during a primetime segment. "What if it sets a dangerous precedent for desperate families taking extreme measures?" Nathan watched these debates with a tight jaw, his frustration mounting. "They talk like we had a choice," he muttered, pacing the small hospital room. Alyssa placed a hand on his arm, her expression weary but calm. "Let them talk," she said. "We know why we did this. That's what matters." The public discourse only heightened as prominent figures weighed in. Some praised Elon Musk for stepping in when no one else could, calling him a modern-day hero. Others accused him of exploiting the family's tragedy for publicity. Musk, true to form, didn't engage directly but tweeted a simple message: "Technology exists to solve problems. That's why we do what we do." As the media frenzy grew, so did the interest from the scientific community. Researchers and doctors from around the globe reached out to Musk's team and the Parker family, eager to learn more about the experimental treatment. Dr. Patel became an overnight sensation, hailed as a pioneer in the field of medical nanotechnology. She remained grounded, focusing her energy on monitoring Liam's progress and documenting every detail for future study. Amidst the chaos, Alyssa and Nathan tried to maintain some semblance of normalcy for Liam. Despite the cameras and the constant stream of visitors, they kept their focus on their son's recovery. And recover he did, slowly but steadily. Day by day, Liam grew stronger. His appetite returned, his color improved, and his energy began to match the curiosity in his eyes. One afternoon, as Nathan held Liam on his lap, he found himself overcome with emotion. "You're going to be okay, buddy," he whispered, his voice cracking. Liam responded by reaching up to touch his father's face, a small gesture that spoke volumes. But even as Liam's condition improved, Alyssa couldn't ignore the weight of the larger narrative unfolding around them. Every step of their journey was being dissected, debated, and in some cases, distorted. They were no longer just a family. They had become symbols of something much bigger, the intersection of desperation, innovation, and hope. And while the attention was overwhelming, Alyssa couldn't shake the feeling that their story had sparked something powerful, something that might change lives far beyond their own. Liam's progress became the centerpiece of a broader movement. What had started as a desperate plea for help had now evolved into a worldwide discussion about the future of medical innovation. News anchors described his case as a miracle in the making, and scientists hailed it as a potential breakthrough in the fight against rare and untreatable diseases. But the Parker family was focused on something far more immediate: Liam's day-to-day recovery. The experimental treatment had given him a second chance, but it wasn't without its challenges. His body was still adjusting to the effects of the nanotechnology, and while he was thriving in ways they hadn't dared to hope for, there were moments of uncertainty. Dr. Patel remained a steady presence, conducting frequent checkups and providing reassurance when doubts crept in. The turning point came one sunny afternoon at a nearby park. It was Liam's first outing since the procedure. Wrapped in a cozy blanket and nestled in Alyssa's arms, he watched the world around him with wide-eyed wonder. For a child who had spent most of his life in hospitals, the simple sight of trees swaying in the breeze and children playing nearby was mesmerizing. At one point, Liam reached out for a small ball that had rolled toward him. Nathan, who was sitting beside him, handed it over, his heart swelling as Liam held it tightly, his tiny fingers stronger than they had been in months. It was such a simple act, holding a ball, but it was everything to them. Alyssa leaned her head against Nathan's shoulder, tears silently streaming down her face. "He's going to be okay," she whispered, almost as if she didn't dare to believe it. Over the next few weeks, Liam's recovery became more pronounced. He began to sit up on his own, laugh at his parents' silly antics, and even take his first tentative steps since the illness had taken hold. Every milestone felt monumental, a reminder of how far they had come. The media frenzy continued, but Alyssa and Nathan worked hard to shield Liam from the chaos. They knew their story was bigger than them now, but they also understood the importance of protecting their son's peace. When reporters asked for updates, they provided brief, factual responses, refusing to let their family's journey become a spectacle. Meanwhile, Dr. Patel and her team were inundated with inquiries from medical professionals and researchers around the world. They had documented every aspect of Liam's case, and the data was already being used to explore potential treatments for other conditions. "What happened here isn't just about Liam," Dr. Patel explained during a rare interview. "It's about opening doors for the millions of people who face impossible odds every day." As Liam continued to thrive, Nathan and Alyssa found themselves reflecting on the whirlwind of the past months. They had started this journey as parents desperate to save their son, but along the way, they had become part of something much larger. Their story had sparked conversations about the potential of technology, the power of community, and the resilience of the human spirit. One evening, as they sat together on the couch watching Liam play on the floor, Nathan turned to Alyssa. "Do you ever think about what all of this means?" he asked. She nodded. "It means we were given a second chance," she said softly. "And maybe it means we have a responsibility to help others find their own." Nathan smiled, pulling her close. "Whatever it means, I'm just grateful we still have him." And as Liam looked up at his parents, giggling at the sound of his own voice, it was clear that their story wasn't just about hope. It was about the incredible things that can happen when people come together, refuse to give up, and believe in the impossible. As the Parker family settled back into their lives, the world around them continued to buzz with the ripple effects of their story. Liam's recovery wasn't just a testament to cutting-edge technology. It was a reminder of the extraordinary power of human connection and determination. Alyssa and Nathan often reflected on how many strangers had rallied around them, turning their plea for help into a global phenomenon. Liam's case became a catalyst for change. Inspired by his story, philanthropic organizations and tech companies began investing in experimental medical research at unprecedented levels. Musk himself pledged funding for broader applications of nanotechnology, ensuring that others could benefit from similar breakthroughs. But for Nathan and Alyssa, the biggest takeaway was much simpler. Their journey had taught them that hope is not passive. It's an action, a leap of faith in the face of uncertainty. By refusing to give up, even when the odds seemed insurmountable, they had found a way forward for their son and countless others. One evening, Alyssa sat down to write a post, her first since the chaos began. She kept it simple. "Liam is thriving. We are grateful beyond words. To every parent out there facing the impossible, keep fighting, keep believing. You never know who might be listening." The post went viral within hours, flooding their inbox with messages of gratitude, encouragement, and hope. Alyssa realized that their story had become a beacon for others, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is always a chance for light. As Liam played on the floor with his favorite stuffed elephant, his laughter filling the room, Alyssa and Nathan felt a deep sense of gratitude. They had faced the unthinkable, and they had come through it stronger, more connected, and more determined to live each day fully. The lesson they hoped others would take away from their journey was clear. Even when the odds are against you, it's worth fighting for what matters. And sometimes, when you least expect it, Help can come from the most extraordinary places. If this story moved you, don't forget to share it with others. And if you believe in the power of hope and perseverance, consider subscribing for more stories that remind us what it means to be human. Together we can keep the light of hope alive.